So good to be with everyone. Today's service is entitled Spirituality for Atheists. And for some, you might believe that to be an oxymoron. I beg to differ. I think this is a long overdue topic. For we Unitarian Universalists are a congregation where atheists are welcome, along with Christians and Jews and Buddhists and agnostics, and any variety of belief that might be thought of. All are welcome here, and most importantly, we don't try to change you. Isn't that nice? One of the wonderful things about our congregation is our ability to worship together regardless of our different faiths and beliefs. We not only welcome our uniqueness, but we use our uniqueness as a tool to engage our curiosity. We are drawn to find our common denominators and also to opportunities to stretch our own individual beliefs. I like to call it yes and. This is the invitation we receive when we embrace our third principle that Donna read earlier, the acceptance of one another and the encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. We use our communities who can collectively explore spirituality in its most sincere form. So let's do it. So what is atheism? Definitions can be looked at in so many ways these days. But this is what I offer today. Atheism is the absence of a belief in the existence of any God or spiritual or supernatural beings. It can take various forms. Agnostics are often defined as a form of atheist because they do not believe in God or gods, but rather they hold the view that that ultimate reality is unknown and probably unknowable to us as human beings. There are atheists who believe that consciousness continues after death and those that don't. Many Buddhist traditions and East Asian religions are atheist religions, yet they believe that consciousness continues on in a new form through reincarnation and karma. An atheist might believe in angels or spirit guides. They might have a continued relationship with their loved ones as they transition out of their bodies as they die. Atheists can take part in rituals. They can believe in divine order and, again, in collective consciousness. They may believe that the soul is real and continues. You can have all these beliefs and still be an atheist. Spirituality is also a broad term with many definitions, but for this conversation, I'm going to bring it to this and share the following. Spirituality is about seeking connection, meaning, and purpose beyond oneself in life. Does that resonate with you all?
Yes. Yes.
A person could be religious and spiritual. A person can be atheist and spiritual. There is room for both. With spirituality, there's room at the table for everyone to explore. Religion, on the other hand, offers specific rules for that exploration and restrictions that are required to participate. Atheists may find themselves sometimes judged or criticized by those who identify as religious. So when I was newly ordained, I attended a dinner party. I like parties. We all know that about me. And at this party, it was hosted by dear friends that I'm close to, and there were acquaintances there, people I had known for years, but not close friends. They didn't know what's going on in my life. And we were in a little circle chatting, a few of us, and someone mentioned to this couple, who happened to be British, they said, oh, by the way, Sonia's now a minister. She's a reverend, Sonia. And almost immediately, I noticed the expressions on their faces change. And so did their tone. And they responded to this with, we don't believe in God. We're atheists. And they kind of glared at me. And it was clear they were prepared for me to begin imposing my belief system that they assumed I had on them. And I took a deep breath and said, I get it. I'm not religious either. And they looked at me a little astonished, and they did that RCA Victor dog kind of like, they cocked their heads. And we all kind of giggled a little, and it disarmed them, and we started to talk. And we went on to have a really cool conversation, and we have had wonderful, wonderful conversations since then. Many people continue to be very triggered by my title of minister or reverend. People I love, people I'm related to, people that are friends. And I can't tell you how many people share with me their religious traumas or might even identify as God allergic. Now, with that all in mind, I'd like to go deeper and explore what spirituality may be for an atheist. But I'd like to begin with a story. Two fish are in the ocean, swimming around, and one fish says to the other, do you believe in water? The other fish says, what are you, crazy? What's water? There's no such thing as water. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't see water. I can't feel water. It's crazy. It made sense for this fish to feel that there is no such thing as water. And that fish continued to feel that way about water until one day there was a storm, like a hurricane level storm, and the waves thrashed back and forth, and somehow this poor fish got thrown out of the ocean onto the shore. And it was only in that moment that the fish understood what water was. Spirituality for me is very much like water. It's something that can only be understood through experience. It's those moments that we become aware, that we're shaken out of our normal life, and we are present to say, oh, wait a minute, maybe there's something else or more or different. For me, spirituality is the experience of connection. This past Wednesday, if you happen to have a chance to look up in the sky, and I'm sure many of you did, what was going on this past Wednesday? Anybody remember? The moon, the blue supermoon. We will not have another blue supermoon until 2037. That's a little while from now. People were waking each other up in the middle of the night to look up at the sky. What is it that makes us run to our windows to stare at the moon and events like this? What is it that makes us run and get that exposed film to look at the eclipses, right? We get the exposed film so that we could glare at the sun without hurting our eyes. When we see these things, something happens to us. we feel, at least most of us, feel an experience of awe. Can we agree with that? Is that an experience most of us feel? Does anybody not feel awe when you see a supermoon or an eclipse or a vast open space like the Grand Canyon, or when we see those starlit nights when we happen to get far from the city and everything is so gigantic? Somehow there is a connection that we feel to that vastness. Often we lose our breath for a second, right? I don't know about you, but I go, the second I see something like that. Many express this as an experience of connection beyond yourself. Some atheists may believe in collective consciousness to be the possibility of something greater than us, but not separate from us. Greater than us, but not separate from us. An interesting thing to explore if we haven't. Anybody, anyone who has been in the presence of a birth or by a person taking their last breath has felt some experience of transcendent connection. When people witness life force arriving and leaving, something happens. Now, I'm not a parent, nor have I had the privilege of witnessing a birth. But just about every woman I've ever spoken with about their experience of giving birth shares that they experienced a connection with their child when their child was handed to them that was beyond anything they could have ever imagined. I see some women nodding. What's interesting about this moment of the complete connection happened when they disconnected from the child. When the child was part of them, they felt connected. But when the child separated from them, something unique happened. They were disconnected physically, but they became even more connected spiritually. Separate beings. For many, spirituality is the moment when we experience union, a union beyond ourselves. There's a yogic story that shares that the creative force of all that is yearned to experience love so badly that it divided itself into individual parts throughout the universe, only so that it can experience love and connection. In this yogic parable, we are all bits of the divine made manifest as humans just to know love, just to know connection. You know, it seems, and this is interesting, especially when we talk about ancestors and people that might have transitioned. It seems from the earliest time of mankind, people of the earth, whether they were pagans or indigenous people, they believed that they lived their life in relationship with their ancestors. Aboriginal people, Native American people, Maori people, they all lived their life in constant relationship with the ancestors, not specifically through a god, but just directly. They felt that the connection they had could never be severed. Now, what's an interesting thing is the word pagan could be triggering for a lot of people, but pagan actually is the Latin word for pagani, is a Latin word, which means pagani, which means farmer, people of the land. So Christianity demonized pagans to make anything besides them, anybody that didn't believe in a single God, and a bad or negative. All Abrahamic religions do not believe in having a direct prayer relationship with ancestors. They believe that you have to go through Jesus or God or the divine. Is that correct, Jerry?
Not sure.
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
That you need to go through God to have that relationship. Yet, most people that I know that are Christians, at least I know from my Christian friends and some of my Jewish friends, that they go in their room and they talk to their parents, they talk to their loved ones, they light candles to them, and they say, "Oh, Mom, please help me," or my please be with me today. They do it. They just do it. No matter, even if it's said that it is not something to be done, they still do it. Because there's something primal in us that cannot believe, or that feels maybe a continued connection that cannot be severed. The point I'm trying to get to here is whether you are religious, atheist, spiritual, agnostic, there's a longing to be in connection. That is a common expression of spirituality. Creativity. Creativity can be and can truly be a spiritual experience. We are often, when we're in these experiences of creating, as I cast my eyes across all these amazing artists and creative people in this room that create in so many different ways, you go into a zone, right? And we are moved from our thinking mind to being completely present to what we're doing. It could be drawing, painting, dancing, playing the guitar, singing, gardening, athletics. People that are great athletes, they have an experience that is beyond themselves in what they are completely passionate about, what they give themselves over to. I was listening to another minister preaching on the topic of atheism, spiritual connection, and zone, and he shared to consider the experience of making love as an opportunity to be in that zone of experiencing oneness with another person that you love, that you are beyond yourself. The yogic word, the word yoga, is derived from the Sanskrit word yog, which means union. Yoga is the call to union. The need to feel connection in its purest form is the driving factor in our human experience. All the positive experiences that we have as human beings relate to connection. Love, kindness, generosity, gratitude, community. These are all experiences of connection. And think of the negative experiences we have as human beings. Lack, anger, hatred, fear, jealousy, violence. These are all experiences of disconnection. Or the anticipation of disconnection. Many spiritual traditions share that the opposite of love is not hate, but fear. And if you study the Course in Miracles, it will tell that, and many spiritual teachers share that. My dear friend, Reverend Ty, teaches that fear is the anticipation of being separated from what you love, or who you love. Regardless of where we are in our lifetime or what challenges we may be having, we always have opportunities to experience connections. The invitation is up to us to reach out beyond ourselves, whatever our spiritual tradition is. Spirituality is reaching to find a part in us that opens a door, finding our way to experience union with others, or to be in union with others, or what drives us to live our passion. To experience spirituality, to experience union. Vanessa Zoltan shares the following. She says, I think that the absence of God can be really beautiful. It means it's our responsibility to take care of each other on this earth. I'm going to read this again. I think the absence of God can be really beautiful. It means it's our responsibility to take care of each other on this earth. And I've found atheists to be some of the most spiritual, altruistic, and caring people that I have ever known. Whatever they did for others, not for how they would be rewarded in an afterlife, but purely for the sake of others. I often tell Al Starsky, he's my spirituals guru. Al, are you there? I see you, Al. You are my guru. You really walk the walk of spirituality. And so many of you are all my gurus too. And aren't we that for each other? Always inspiring each other on the path. I think this is spirituality in its truest and purest form. To care regardless when we have nothing to gain from it. I'm going to share a reading. It's called A Way of Looking at the World. This is the way I look at the world. I don't see it as a collection of objects, but as a vast and mysterious organism. I see the beauty in the smallest things, and I find wonder in the most ordinary events. I am always looking for the hidden message, the secret message. I am content to live in the mystery and to be surrounded by the unknown. I am content to be a seeker, a pilgrim, a traveler on the road to nowhere. And I'm going to close today with a prayer. That's not that common, is it? But this prayer is a prayer that I think could speak to you, whatever your spiritual belief system is, whether it's atheist, Jewish, Christian, Buddhist, agnostic, earth-based. Yell out anything else, that's all included. But here's today's prayer. May the spirit of love that lifts and upholds us all awaken our hearts today. May the open sharing that we've all experienced deepen our relationship and connection with each other. And may we take with us this deepened experience of oneness as we go into the week to come. These things I ask in the name of all that is good, loving, and sacred. May it be so. If you like this video, please like us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click on the bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. Thank you.